first thing that we need to do in order to install your new TechT bolt is to remove the firing assembly. To do so, you just back it out of the rear of the gun, just like you always have before in regular maintenance. Now you can set the gun off to the side. You're going to start off by removing the rear portion of the firing assembly. Set him down. Next, you want to take off what's known as the top hat. It just unscrews. You can take it off. Next, we need to get the firing cane off, but in order to do so, we have to remove this front O-ring on the bolt so that we can slide it out of the firing can. Alright, now we can slide our firing cane off, set our old bolt off to the side. The first thing that we need to do is install our rear plug into the rear of our firing assembly. Now, as I previously stated, this is a PM, so I'm going to use the smaller plug because it is a PM. The larger plug is used for DMs. Throw a little grease on it, and then you can just drop it in, and you can use an Allen wrench or your stock bolt to push it all the way to the back. You ought to be able to see it right up against the back like so. Next thing that we want to do is install our spacer. As I stated earlier, I prefer one spacer. So I'm going to slide our spacer on and connect our top hat, our new top hat, to the rear of the firing assembly. There we go. Next thing that we need to do is remove the O-ring from the front of our new TechT bolt so that we can install it in the firing can the same way that we had to take the old bolt out. So you're going to remove that O-ring, grab some grease. I'm going to use some Tech Salve because it's the bomb. Apply grease to the sail O-ring and the bumper and across the surface of the bolt head, like so. And you also want to install some on the bolt stem. Next, we want to grease our top hat. There's one O-ring in the top hat that's very important for it to be greased, and it's this inner top hat O-ring inside of here. And the way you grease that is just get a little bit on your finger, put it down in there, kind of rub it around. And you can also take, if you notice I put a pretty substantial amount of grease on this stalk, that's because it's going to transfer over here into my top hat O-ring. Alright, now that we have that greased up nicely, we want to install our firing can. We do so by just sliding it over and screwing it into the top hat. Once that's screwed in, I'm going to reinstall this front O-ring. And now we can reinstall it in the gun. It's very important that when you go to screw this whole assembly back in, our rear plug is free floating in there. So if you push your Allen wrench all the way in, you're going to run the risk of pushing that plug past the hole that feeds the firing can. So when you go to screw this in, just barely press your Allen wrench in there. You don't need to push it all the way in like you could with the stock bolt. And that completes the installation of the bolt. Next, we're going to cover how to properly set your LPR for the TechT bolt. What you want to do is back your LPR out all the way. It's pretty plain and simple. What we're trying to do is equalize the pressure that's in the firing can as what's holding the bolt back. So you want to start off by backing your LPR out all the way until it touches what I call the cage, or this blocking device. Now that's all the way, and I'm going to screw it in one turn. Now, we should be able to apply air to the gun and it be working at this point. Alright, notice how our bolt is all the way back now, and we don't have any leaks. One of the common problems with installing this bolt is people don't understand that you do have to back the LPR out pretty far. One of the common problems that happens if you don't back the LPR out is the bolt doesn't want to return all the way. So I'm going to turn my LPR in and see if I can get it to malfunction to show you guys that. See how the bolt didn't come all the way back? That's because our LPR, our low pressure regulator, is regulating the air that should be pushing the bolt back to less pressure than what's pushing it forward. So now, if you notice, as I open my LPR up all the way again and equalize that pressure, my next shot, the bolt goes all the way back. So it is very important. The LPR should be basically all the way out, or as close to all the way out as you can get it. Next, we're going to cover how to set up the electronics in the gun. We're going to start off by removing the right grip panel from your marker. Now that we have the grip panel removed, the first thing that you should do is turn your ABS off, or anti-bolt stick. What anti-bolt stick does is it increases the dwell on the first shot to stop bolt stick. Well, since our bolt is so light, it doesn't have that problem. So you want to turn your ABS off, and then you want to turn which is the number 1 switch, should be off, and you want to turn the number 2 switch to on, and that's going to put us in configuration mode. Next, we push on. You notice it cycles through the colors. We want to go to dwell, which is red. So there's our dwell. Hold our trigger down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 18 stock dwell. So now I'm going to drop our dwell down to 10 to start off with. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The flashing colors means that it received the number that I put in it. 10 is a good starting place. Now you can get the dwell lower, especially if you have all the spacers in, but since I only have 1 spacer in, I'm going to start at 10 and see how that works. So I'm going to air up my gun. To go back into normal operation mode, all you have to do is go back to your number 2 dip switch here and flip it down. And the next time you pull the trigger, it's going to shoot. Air it up. No leaks. Let's turn my eyes off. Now you can automatically see how much faster the bolt is completing its entire cycle. Now, from what it sounds like, I think I can go down another chirp on my dwell. So I'm going to do that. Once again, just flip over here. I need to turn the gun off first. Flip my number 2 dip switch up. Now I can turn the gun back on. Cycles through the colors. We want to go to red for dwell again. Hold it down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I'm going to put it at 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm going to turn my eyes off. Let's see how she sounds now. Pretty good still. I think I could go down another one, but I'm going to leave it at 9 and take it out to the chronograph and see how it works.